Hello, miladies of inestimable value. Awareness is a gift wrapped in barbed wire. Once you open it, you bleed, but you can't stop looking inside. Every Sigma woman knows this curse. The more she sees, the less she can ignore. While the world scrolls, posts, and pretends, she notices the gaps between what people say and what they mean, between their polished faces and their private chaos. Studies show that people with higher awareness and empathy levels are more prone to anxiety and overthinking, not because they're weak, but because they see too much. They read the fine print of life when everyone else just signs the contract blindly. It's a strange kind of suffering, to be too intelligent for comfort and too perceptive for peace. The Sigma woman carries that double-edged sword daily, wisdom that empowers her and knowledge that keeps her up at night. She knows the hidden systems behind people's motives, the quiet manipulations behind society's normal and the truth that most people don't want to see. And once your eyes adjust to that light, ignorance stops being bliss. It becomes impossible. The irony. She often wishes she could switch off her brain the way others switch channels. But no, her mind is a 24-hour news channel of insights she never asked for. She can't unknow the truth, can't unsee the lies, and can't unfeel what others pretend isn't there. It's both her superpower and her slow poison. So yes, the burden of knowing too much is real. It turns her into the sharpest mind in the room, and the loneliest one too. The question isn't whether she can handle it. It's how she survives it without losing the part of herself that still hopes, laughs, and pretends not to notice everything. Number 1. Her awareness makes her emotionally minimalist. For the Sigma woman, awareness cleans house. It strips away everything fake, the small talk, the emotional theatrics, the manipulative warmth people call connection. She's lived long enough to know that most relationships aren't built on depth, but on convenience. Once she truly understood that, her emotional landscape changed completely. She became selective, not out of arrogance, but necessity. When your energy is pure, you can't afford to give it to people who treat attention like a transaction. Her awareness refined her emotions the way fire refines gold. She no longer chases excitement for the sake of distraction or calls chaos passion. She values calm, truth, and balance more than drama, validation, or noise. To outsiders, that restraint looks cold, but it isn't. It's control. It's peace that's been earned through years of emotional overextension and deep disappointment. She has simply learned that too much emotional investment in the wrong people can bankrupt her spirit. The funny thing is, her peace unsettles people. They're so used to emotional excess, overreactions, attention-seeking, and constant validation that her calm feels threatening. When she doesn't play the usual games, they accuse her of being detached. But that's not detachment, it's clarity. She knows the difference between being emotionally dead and emotionally disciplined. The world praises loud emotions, but she's mastered the quiet ones: composure, discernment, and self-respect. Her emotional minimalism is her silent rebellion against a world that feeds on noise. She no longer gives her energy away like free samples. She spends it wisely, with people who speak honestly and feel deeply. And while others mistake her restraint for emptiness, it's actually strength, the kind that doesn't need to prove itself. She's not unfeeling. She's evolved past the chaos most people confuse with love. Awareness has turned her into a woman who doesn't react to everything, because she finally understands that not everything deserves a reaction. Number 2, she can't unsee hypocrisy in good people. The Sigma woman's awareness exposes the uncomfortable truth that goodness often wears disguises. She's learned that people who preach kindness are sometimes the first to gossip, and those who parade morality often crumble when integrity costs them something. Once she saw how easily good turns conditional. She couldn't unsee it. It didn't make her cynical. It made her painfully awake. She no longer believes in labels like good or bad because she's seen both coexist in the same person, sometimes in the same moment. Her awareness has stripped the glamour from virtue. She knows that for many, morality is performative, a mask to appear righteous while doing the bare minimum of decency. She's seen people use empathy as currency, compassion as a stage act, and forgiveness as a tool for self-image. What exhausts her isn't the existence of hypocrisy, it's how casually people live with it. They'll talk about truth while avoiding honesty, preach loyalty while entertaining betrayal, or post wisdom while living recklessly. This insight isolates her. It's hard to connect deeply when she sees the contradictions others refuse to acknowledge. She can't unhear the double meanings or unfeel the inconsistency between someone's words and their energy. While others celebrate appearances, she studies the intention underneath. And that makes her difficult to fool, but also difficult to comfort. Because even when someone means well, she still senses when it's mixed with self-interest. Her problem isn't judgment, it's clarity. She knows people aren't evil, they're just fragmented. They want to be good, but rarely want the discomfort that real goodness demands. That realization changed her. She stopped seeking perfection in others and focused instead on authenticity. She doesn't need flawless people, just honest ones. Her awareness turned her from an idealist into a realist who understands that the true measure of goodness isn't in words or gestures, but in consistency when no one's watching. Number 3. She lives between genius and exhaustion. The Sigma woman's mind is both her power and her prison. Her intelligence doesn't switch off. It analyzes, dissects, and connects dots non-stop. Every silence, every emotion, every detail becomes data. Her thoughts are sharp, but that sharpness cuts her too. She's the kind of person who can see the truth behind anything, and that awareness drains her more than any physical effort ever could. It's not that she wants to think so deeply, it's that she can't help it. Her mind refuses to rest in ignorance. Her intelligence pushes her into constant reflection on people, choices, society, and even herself. While others move through life on autopilot, she's mentally rewriting the manual. That's what makes her brilliant. She can see patterns before they unfold and motives before they're spoken. But genius always has a cost. The same mental depth that helps her navigate the world also isolates her from it. She gets tired, not of thinking, but of realizing that most people don't. Her exhaustion isn't physical, it's existential. It's the kind that comes from understanding too much and pretending not to. From biting her tongue when she knows she's right, because explaining would only make her look arrogant. From being surrounded by noise when all she craves is silence. She carries the constant tension of being too aware to rest and too responsible to ignore what she knows. She walks a fine line between brilliance and burnout. Some days her awareness makes her magnetic, unstoppable, intuitive, and effortlessly wise. Other days, it feels like a curse she never asked for. She knows too much to find comfort in simplicity, but feels too human to detach completely. That's her paradox. The world sees her as calm and collected, but inside, she's balancing a storm of perception that never ends. Her mind is her masterpiece, but also her heaviest burden, one she carries with quiet strength and a half-tired smile. Number 4. She feels every layer of pain, hers and others. For the Sigma woman, awareness is a double-edged sword, and empathy is its heaviest weight. She doesn't just notice pain, she absorbs it. Every tremor of sadness, every flicker of disappointment, Every carefully hidden frustration registers in her like it's her own. While most people skim the surface of emotions, she dives deep, feeling the undertow of suffering that others try to hide. That intensity makes her compassionate beyond measure, but it also leaves her drained in ways words can't capture. She senses when someone smiles to mask heartbreak, laughs to cover fear, or pretends to be strong while crumbling inside. It's not just observation, it's a visceral experience. She knows what it feels like to carry burdens silently because she lives it daily. Not only her own, but everyone else's too. The emotional atmosphere around her becomes a tapestry she cannot ignore. And while that awareness gives her an extraordinary understanding of humanity, it also makes ordinary interactions exhausting. Casual conversations can feel like a full-body workout, leaving her emotionally spent by the end of the day. Her empathy isn't selective, it's relentless. She can't turn it off because every feeling she detects triggers a response in her. Joy, grief, fear, shame, all of it resonates in her core. That makes her fiercely compassionate, but it also means she sometimes carries pain that isn't even hers, yet refuses to discard it because she understands its weight. People often mistake her quietness or reserve for detachment, but it's actually her way of managing a world too heavy for most minds. Living this way teaches her to tread carefully with herself and others. She knows that not all pain can be healed, but acknowledging it, feeling it, and carrying it, even briefly, is a form of quiet power. Her sensitivity is both a gift and a burden, shaping her into someone who not only perceives life in its rawest form, but also bears it with a grace most can't comprehend. Number 5. She's haunted by what she could have been, if she stayed ignorant. The Sigma woman carries a subtle, lingering grief for the person she once was. Before awareness sharpened her mind and opened her eyes to the hidden mechanics of the world, she was lighter, naive in the most beautiful way, trusting without hesitation and blissfully unaware of the hidden agendas that govern people's actions. That innocence made life simple, almost sweet, even in its chaos. But with knowledge came clarity, and with clarity came the loss of that carefree self. She envies that former version of herself, not in a shallow way, but because she remembers the freedom that ignorance once allowed. She remembers how easily laughter came, how deeply trust was given, and how unburdened she felt by the complexity of motives, manipulation, and human contradiction. Awareness gave her armor, yes, but it also made her cautious, restrained, and sometimes painfully alone. Every insight she gains reminds her that the world is rarely as kind or as straightforward as it once seemed. This haunting isn't loud or dramatic. It's a quiet, persistent ache. She can't unlearn what she knows, and that knowledge reshapes everything she feels. Life now carries layers she didn't have to navigate before: hypocrisy, hidden agendas, emotional games, and the constant calculation of how to protect herself without losing her humanity. That former self becomes almost a ghost, a whisper of what life could have been if simplicity still reigned. Even as she moves forward, she feels the tension between who she is now and who she could have been. Strength and wisdom replaced innocence and ease, and that balance comes at a cost. The Sigma woman survives, excels, and commands respect. But part of her mourns the girl who could laugh without questioning every motive, who could trust without hesitation, and who didn't yet understand that seeing too much sometimes comes with a price. That quiet mourning shapes her, making her powerful, reflective, and in its own way, endlessly human. Number 6. She recognizes manipulation in love and can't unsee it. For the Sigma woman, love isn't just heartbeats and butterflies. It's a battlefield she navigates with acute awareness. While others fall headlong into passion, she sees the patterns before anyone else does. the calculated charm, the soft guilt trips, the manipulations hidden behind sweet gestures. Every attempt at emotional influence, no matter how subtle, registers in her mind. She doesn't just notice the obvious lies. She feels the hidden strings being pulled, the subtle intentions woven into words and actions. That awareness gives her incredible clarity, but it also makes surrendering almost impossible. Romance becomes a chess game. She anticipates moves, deciphers motives, and reads the spaces between the lines. The love bombing that overwhelms most hearts feels like strategy to her, not affection. Flattery, promises, and emotional peaks are all signals, not gestures of genuine connection, but patterns to be analyzed. That insight protects her, but it also isolates her. The ease of falling in love is gone, replaced by vigilance. She can't fully trust affection because she knows how easily it can be weaponized. Her caution doesn't come from fear of love itself. It comes from understanding human nature. She knows that even those with the best intentions can carry unconscious manipulation. A subtle push here, a silent pull there. And because she sees it, she can't unsee it. Every romantic encounter is measured, every gesture weighed, every word examined. That's why she often appears distant, reserved, or even cold to others. It isn't lack of emotion, it's self-preservation. Being aware in love is both a shield and a burden. It makes her unshakable, wise, and impossible to fool. But it also keeps her from experiencing the vulnerability and abandon that many equate with true connection. The Sigma woman loves differently, deeply, selectively, and strategically, always aware, always awake, and never blind to the strings others try to hide. Number 7. She sees society's game board and refuses to play. The Sigma woman doesn't just live in society. She reads it like a blueprint. She notices the invisible rules, the unspoken expectations, the patterns people follow without questioning. She sees the performative gestures labeled as empowerment, the rebellion marketed as individuality, and the so-called freedom that is really just another form of subtle control. While most people play along, convinced that blending in is survival, she refuses. She doesn't need validation from scripts she sees for what they are, and she won't participate in games that manipulate behavior, thought, or loyalty. Her awareness grants her a rare clarity, but it comes with an isolation most can't understand. She exists in the margins, observing the performance from outside the spotlight. To conform would be to betray herself, yet that refusal to participate makes her appear alien to the masses. She's too awake to ignore the manipulations around her, too independent to accept the constraints that everyone else tolerates without question. This creates a constant tension. She wants connection, but the connections society offers feel shallow, constructed, and ultimately hollow. What makes her extraordinary is that she doesn't pretend otherwise. She doesn't soften her observations to fit in, nor does she compromise her principles for acceptance. The Sigma woman navigates life on her own terms, making choices guided by insight rather than obligation. But that insight is heavy. It reminds her daily that few truly understand her perspective. She watches others chase illusions while she cultivates authenticity, and she knows that authenticity comes at a cost. Her life is a balancing act between engagement and detachment. She's part of the world, yet separate from it, a silent observer who refuses to be a pawn. That refusal isn't rebellion for rebellion's sake, it's wisdom, discernment, and strength. She has chosen to live awake, and that choice both elevates and isolates her. In a world addicted to performance, her refusal to play is her quiet, unshakable power. Number 8. Her mind never stops connecting dots. The Sigma woman's mind is relentless, a constant engine decoding the world around her. Every glance, pause, and word is processed, dissected, and placed into a larger pattern only she can see. It's not just observation. It's full-scale analysis. While most people move through life taking events at face value, she tracks cause and effect, motives, and hidden connections with an almost surgical precision. That awareness makes her extraordinarily insightful, but it also leaves her in a state of perpetual mental motion, rarely granting her the calm others take for granted. Her intelligence is a gift that comes with a cost. She sees beyond the obvious, noticing contradictions, subtle manipulations, and the ripple effects of actions before they happen. But that same sharpness prevents her from fully relaxing. Conversations, social gatherings, even quiet moments become arenas where her mind is actively mapping, predicting, and interpreting. While others enjoy simplicity, she lives in a constant feedback loop, questioning what is said, what is meant, and what is left unsaid. This perpetual analysis is exhausting, yet it's impossible to shut down. She can't switch off the part of her mind that decodes reality because it has become instinctual. Even when she tries to rest, her brain continues to replay patterns, evaluate intentions, and anticipate outcomes. That makes her both formidable and fatigued. Formidable because she can anticipate behavior and navigate life with exceptional foresight. Fatigued because mental clarity comes at the price of peace. Her mind connecting dots constantly is also what isolates her. People mistake her quiet observation for detachment, but it's vigilance. Every nuance matters. Every detail counts. It allows her to operate strategically and stay several steps ahead, but it also means that moments of simple enjoyment are rare. Life for her is a chessboard of possibilities, and her mind is always playing, always calculating. That brilliance, while awe-inspiring, is also her quiet burden. A genius that never rests and a consciousness that never sleeps. Number 9. She understands how easily humans trade integrity for approval. The Sigma woman watches the world with a precision that most people don't notice. She sees how quickly individuals bend, compromise, or even abandon their principles in exchange for applause, recognition, or social acceptance. It's not always malicious. Often it's subtle, almost invisible, like small concessions made daily that slowly erode authenticity. But she sees it, and every instance leaves an imprint. The ease with which people trade integrity for approval isn't inspiring. It's exhausting. This understanding breeds a quiet, simmering disdain. Not the kind that demands confrontation, but the kind that weighs on her silently. She knows the cost of authenticity because she pays it herself every day. While others chase popularity or conformity, she measures everything against her internal compass. The gap between her standards and the world's compromises is stark, and living in that space makes her both vigilant and wary. She's not arrogant. She's simply aware that conviction is rare, and maintaining it requires courage few possess. Observing this pattern repeatedly changes the way she interacts with people. She doesn't assume honesty or loyalty automatically. She tests, evaluates, and discerns. Her trust isn't given lightly because she knows that most people will trade it for acceptance or approval. That awareness protects her, but it also adds weight to her relationships. Friendships, partnerships, and alliances must pass her internal integrity test. Anything less becomes noise, a drain on her energy. Her understanding is both a shield and a lens. It sharpens her judgment, allows her to navigate life without being manipulated, and ensures that she doesn't compromise herself. But it also isolates her emotionally, because she cannot ignore the compromises others make. While the world often celebrates popularity, she celebrates principle. And living in a society that prizes applause over authenticity teaches her a truth few face directly. Maintaining integrity is not just admirable, it is rare, exhausting, and profoundly lonely. Number 10. She knows the price of enlightenment is isolation. The Sigma woman understands something most never face. The deeper your awareness, the thinner the line between connection and solitude. Every insight she gains, every pattern she discerns, pulls her further from the common currents that guide others through life blindly. Conversations with peers often feel shallow, as if she's speaking a different language. The goals people chase feel recycled, the desires they pursue programmed, and the energy they pour into conformity unrecognizable to her. Her mind operates on a level that the collective rarely touches, and that makes her both powerful and profoundly alone. Isolation isn't accidental, it's the natural consequence of seeing too clearly. Once she comprehends the subtle manipulations, hidden motives, and unconscious compromises around her, participating in ordinary social dynamics becomes exhausting. She can't fake enthusiasm for trivial pursuits, join in meaningless chatter, or chase popularity without feeling drained. That awareness disconnects her from the trance that comforts most people, leaving her in a space that is both lucid and lonely. Her solitude is different from loneliness. It is deliberate, protective, and sometimes necessary. She doesn't isolate herself out of fear, but because connection requires alignment with authenticity, depth, and intention. And in a world where few operate on that frequency, meaningful resonance is rare. The price of enlightenment is knowing the truth about the collective, the systems, and even the people closest to you, and realizing that most will never reach the same understanding. Yet she bears it with quiet strength. Isolation sharpens her, forcing self-reliance and clarity of thought. It teaches her discernment, patience, and the value of energy wisely spent. She may stand apart, but that separation is not weakness. It is a testament to the cost of seeing too much, knowing too deeply, and refusing to settle for illusions. In her solitude, she discovers both her power and her burden, living fully awake in a world that sleeps. Number 11. She sees motives, not words. The Sigma woman doesn't just hear words, she deciphers intention. While most people take statements at face value, she reads between the lines, catching the subtle signals that reveal true motives. Every conversation becomes an intricate map of hidden agendas, unspoken envy, and quiet insecurities. Compliments, apologies, and casual remarks are no longer simple expressions. They are data points she analyzes, connecting them to patterns of behavior and intention that others fail to notice. This skill gives her an extraordinary advantage. She can anticipate outcomes, avoid manipulation, and navigate complex social landscapes with almost surgical precision. But there's a cost. The ability to see beyond words strips away the innocence of trust. She can no longer engage in small talk or social niceties without simultaneously cataloging underlying meaning. Every gesture is layered, every tone significant, every pause deliberate. That clarity isolates her. While others float through conversation, unaware of the currents beneath, she carries the weight of knowing what everyone is really after: power, attention, validation, or advantage. It creates distance, even with those she cares for, because she can't ignore motives, no matter how subtly masked. Her insight is both shield and burden. It protects her from deceit and manipulation, allowing her to operate with unmatched discernment. Yet it also makes connection complicated. People often perceive her as reserved or skeptical, but it isn't cynicism, it's awareness. She doesn't distrust lightly. She simply understands that words are often a veil for intention. In mastering the ability to see motives instead of merely hearing words, the Sigma woman wields invisible power. She navigates the world strategically, always a step ahead, but she does so with the quiet loneliness of someone who knows that surface-level exchanges are rarely enough. Her mind operates in high definition, seeing what others cannot, and that insight, while formidable, makes the simple act of trusting almost impossible. Number 12. Her awareness destroys comfort zones. The Sigma woman's awakening changes everything. Once her eyes open to the hidden currents of life, the illusions that keep most people comfortable no longer work on her. She can't unsee manipulation, ignorance, or pretense. They stand out with glaring clarity, like cracks in a polished surface. Where others find solace in convenient lies or comforting half-truths, she finds only dissonance. Life becomes a series of sharp edges, and navigating it requires constant awareness, vigilance, and discernment. Her perception makes her formidable because she doesn't stumble blindly into danger or deception. She notices the subtle traps that most overlook, the whispers of dishonesty behind smiles, and the invisible currents steering people's choices. That awareness grants her power, strategic advantage, and an almost uncanny ability to predict outcomes. Yet the same gift is also a source of unrest. Nothing feels effortless anymore. Social interactions, relationships, and even personal ambitions carry layers she cannot ignore, and the comfort others enjoy is forever out of reach. Restlessness becomes her default state. She cannot simply accept things as they are or allow herself to drift through life. Every situation demands analysis, every decision requires awareness, and every interaction is weighed against invisible standards she alone perceives. It's both exhausting and liberating. She has access to truths that others can't see, but that knowledge comes with the inability to relax or pretend ignorance. Her destruction of comfort zones is not a flaw. It's the inevitable outcome of clarity. She cannot retreat into illusions without betraying herself. That constant tension sharpens her mind, steels her resolve, and elevates her above the complacency of the masses. Yet it also isolates her, for living on the edge of truth is a lonely pursuit. The Sigma woman walks the world fully awake, a master of awareness, knowing that safety and comfort exist only for those willing to remain blind. The journey of a Sigma woman is unlike any other. Her awareness is a gift and a burden, a double-edged sword that carves out power from insight, while simultaneously cutting her off from the naive comforts most people take for granted. She moves through life seeing motives, patterns, and hidden truths that others either miss or willingly ignore. Every conversation, every interaction, every seemingly ordinary moment is layered with meaning that only she can decipher. This clarity makes her formidable, a force to be reckoned with, but it also isolates her. She lives in a space where depth is both a sanctuary and a prison, where the veil of ignorance she once shared with the world is forever lifted, leaving her acutely aware of the contradictions, manipulations, and half-truths that surround her. Her mind never rests. Her empathy amplifies the pain of the world, making her feel every layer of suffering, both hers and others. And that emotional weight is carried silently, invisibly, yet powerfully. Love, connection, and trust become complex terrains because she can no longer take anything at face value. She sees every potential trap and hidden agenda. Her awareness shatters comfort zones and strips away illusions, leaving her walking on the sharp edges of reality while others remain lulled in the safety of their ignorance. She has traded innocence for understanding, naivety for wisdom, and ignorance for the heavy, sometimes exhausting gift of seeing life as it truly is. And yet, despite the loneliness, the constant vigilance, and the emotional burden, she thrives. Her power is quiet but undeniable. Her depth commands respect, her insight ensures survival, and her authenticity sets her apart in a world addicted to appearances and deception. She is rare, extraordinary, and unstoppable, a mind awake in a world of slumbering conformity. If this resonated with you and gave you a glimpse into the extraordinary world of Sigma women, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into untold truths. Like the video if it challenged your perspective, comment below with your thoughts or experiences, and share it with someone who needs to see this. Join the conversation, stay aware, and keep your mind sharp, because awareness is power, and power belongs to those brave enough to carry it.